Welcome back to this edition of Popcorn Diaries. I'm Joe.
And I'm Adriana.
And we are going to go ahead and cover all the wonderful movies that came out in June. Now, admittedly, June was a little weak.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, there was not a lot of great movies out there. However, there were a couple of stars, and we're going to hit those and talk about those a little more in depth. And we'll probably hit some of the ones that were pretty weak also. So let's go ahead and hit the big one, Adriana.
Of course, the shining star has been Jurassic World,
Absolutely.
Which came out June 12th. Big numbers in the box office, just worldwide and nationwide. It's been making a lot of money.
Yep.
Very exciting movie, I want to say. Was excited to see this after such a long time of not having any Jurassic movies. Great things that I can say about it is that the action is just spectacular. The graphics are spectacular. The story's not bad. It's not complicated, which is good because you don't need a complicated storyline in an action movie. Some great new things, headed our way with the Jurassic series, I think. And definitely loved Chris Pratt in this. He was phenomenal. Not to mention Bryce Dallas Howard, to film this movie in heels the whole time. And she was running around the jungle, on asphalt, on gravel, in her heels. I really have to give it up to her. I cannot believe she was able to pull this off without getting injured, which is really phenomenal. So she did a great job in this. I really liked the cast of characters that they put together and their interactions with each other. So it was a fun movie to watch all around.
Yeah, this is one movie I had said early on that I thought was just going to be just another reboot, a bomb, don't even waste your time. And I am wrong on this one all day long, and I'll openly admit that. As you said, it has done phenomenal at the box office. They're well over the 1 billion mark worldwide, which is just an incredible number. They do have a great cast. And there's no denying that the special effects are just really, really top notch in this. So I think they did a great job rebooting this. I agree with you. There will be more. Let's hope they're as good as this one. And I got to hand it to everybody. I didn't think this one was going to fly, and it's doing great. And it is a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, it got some pretty decent reviews. And at the end of the day, if you were entertained and you had fun, then it was a good movie. For me, it was a good movie. I was entertained. I had fun. There was some very nice comedic moments and just love to see what they did with it. It was really good.
Yeah, and as I've always said, was I entertained? And this one is all about entertaining the audience. The story is, not the greatest in the world, but it doesn't matter.
Then we also had another shining star in June, which, wow, Inside Out.
Yeah.
I expected big things from this coming from, Pixar, and I was happy that they delivered. The trailers do not lie. It is a great movie. It is funny. It is touching, entertaining. The one thing I gotta say, though, is I did not expect, children's movies should not make you cry. And there was a couple moments that were very kind of tearjerkers, and it's great to see that they were able to kind of incorporate that into a children's movie. This movie was really, really well done. The whole animation, everything is just seamless. It's perfect. And the cast of characters, I mean, Amy Poehler, Bill Hader, Louis Black, Mindy Kaling, Phyllis Smith. What a star in this.
Absolutely.
Wow. And Richard King. Just ridiculous amounts of great actors in this, great voice acting in this. I really fell in love with this movie. I'm glad I got to go see it. Wouldn't mind seeing it again. Making some good money, too. It is. Nationwide, it's up to like $250 million.
Yeah, so it's doing very well. Pixar, once again, does not disappoint. That factory just keeps putting out great movie after great movie. Their formula absolutely works. They did a great job of picking the right actors for voices, which really holds this thing together very, very well. And you're right, it does tug at you a little bit a couple times. And, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But overall, what a great movie.
Yeah. Some of the things I didn't like that came out in June, I definitely Ted 2. What a disappointment. As I said, I don't know if Seth is at his A game anymore. It just, raunchy gaudiness, and I was not entertained. I expected a little more comedy from this, and it just was such a weak failure for Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, I called this one early, and I said this one was not going to go well, and it hasn't. They've made a little bit of money, but I guarantee you they haven't made enough. to even cover the movie and its advertising budget and that. So it's definitely going to be probably in the negative or just barely breaking even. The first one was marginal, in my opinion, and there's no way this one was going to work, and it does not.
Yeah, I just expected that at least the comedy would have been better. I mean, we see that even Mila Kunis opted out for this movie. Mark Wahlberg came back, but she definitely opted out for this movie. And it really fell short of the mark. I did not like this offering. I mean, and seeing from last year, A Million Ways to Die in the West, that was also weak. So
Horrible.
I don't know what Seth is planning in the future, but I think it's time to kind of revamp his style and maybe get a little more adult humor in there, because this is the humor just isn't mature enough to capture audiences.
Yeah, agreed. Mark Wahlberg should have stayed away from this one. I don't know why he's in this one. It's like, really, I don't think he needs the money, but and you're right, Seth MacFarlane, after his what I consider just a huge bomb last year with this Western and now this, he needs his next movie best be strong or this man's in trouble.
Yeah, his career. I mean, he's still got the TV series and everything going on, but movie-wise, he's falling short of the mark.
Yeah, he's not going to get any respect out of Hollywood as it comes to movie making if he doesn't start hitting, on all cylinders, so to speak.
Another movie that came out the same week as Ted 2 was Max. And this was expected to do very well, and it has just kind of been a flip-flop. Audiences kind of like it, but there is a lot of violence for it being a children's movie. And the moments with the dog are just not as touching as you would expect them to be. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. I mean...
It's definitely struggling. It's either you like it or you don't. And when you look at the numbers of what it's brought in, it's definitely most people don't. This thing has hardly made $1. It's going to crash and burn.
And I mean, the performances just weren't as strong as they needed to be for this type of movie. You really expected more from something like this. This is a strong material. It is. Almost Old Yeller type of material. Mm-hmm. And the violence just kind of takes over, and the language and some of the stuff just isn't there for me. It just didn't do what I expected it to.
Yeah, and I think they try to rely a little bit on that the whole language and violence thing to carry this movie like it does in so many others. And this one, it just does not. It's just more of the same enough. We've heard it all before. We've seen it all before. Give us a good story.
Yeah. Surprisingly, Insidious Chapter 3, which was one of the early offerings in June that came out, there is some mixed feelings about it. It's not a hugely strong horror movie, but for what it is and what they offered, I was pleasantly surprised. The sometimes lulls in the story really allowed you to kind of see the characters for what they were, instead of, trying to beat it into your head with a ton of dialogue. They did let some of the spaces kind of evolve the characters, which I thought was a really great way to showcase some of the things that happen in this movie. All in all, I mean, it did pretty well in the box office considering it's a horror movie, and the audiences definitely liked this better than even Ted. It did way better than Ted.
Anything's doing better than Ted.
Yeah, almost everything in the month is doing better than Ted. But I was pleasantly surprised by this. I really liked it, and, we'll see if they continue with the chapters. I think they could leave it here. I really do think they should leave it here, but hey, if it keeps making money, they're going to make another one.
Yeah, and this one is making some decent money for what it is. It's pretty much the only horror offering out there right now.
Yes.
So I think their timing was excellent on this because, movie release and timing is a big part of this game. As there will be nothing released when Star Wars comes out that week. Believe me, everyone's going to run and hide. So their timing was good. They've made almost $100 million off this. Their budget's way below that. So I think there will be another one.
I think so too. Mm-hmm. Other things that we'd like to mention, of course, there was Spy. Which I, as I said, was not going to go see this. I just couldn't deal with the same Melissa McCarthy of usual. I just felt like this was going to be Heat 2 all over again. Turns out I was kind of wrong about it.
It has made some pretty good money. It's made a couple $100 million so far and hasn't been out that long, so I suspect it'll make a few more bucks. She's still a pull. There's no doubt about it. She's the star of the movie. The TV series has done very, very well. And I have to agree with you, though. It's the same old bad girl type of thing that we've discussed in other movies she's done, and it's the same old thing.
And that was pretty much it for June. I mean, it wasn't a very strong month movie-wise. July seems like it's going to be a better month. We are definitely going to be talking about all the movies that are hitting in July. I've already started with a couple of movies. I can't wait to tell you guys about them. So if you're out there at the movies, definitely let us know what you're watching, what you liked, what you didn't like. Is there anything in July that you're particularly excited about?
Looking forward to July. It's going to be much better than June. I don't want to really say too much there, but there's at least 4 to 5 movies that I think are really going to hit it. There's one that's Bach. Definitely want to probably catch that. There's one where the bunch of little yellow guys are running around. And towards the end of the month, there's a big one at the end of the month. So definitely keep your eyes on the July offerings. It's going to be much better in June. And it's going to be hot out there. Get in the air conditioning, eat some popcorn, enjoy the movies, be entertained.
That's going to wrap it up for us on this episode of Popcorn Diaries. As always, I'm Adriana.
And I'm Joe.
And this was Popcorn Diaries.